I'm David Roitstein, and I'm the director of the CalArts Jazz program. And I've been teaching at CalArts since 1983, which is 22 years at this point. And I love it here. It's a very special place, and it's different every year, which is part of the reason why I continue to grow with it, because it always is different. It's a small school with a tremendous amount of flexibility and creativity and interaction between artists and disciplines and programs that, in my experience, I find really unusual. The degree and the quality that we pursue that kind of interaction. When Charlie Hayden and I started the program, the world music program and the composition program and the performance program already existed here. But Mel Powell, who was the first music school dean and a Pulitzer Prize-winning composer, and one of the 2 or 3 people that really established CalArts and not only set the structure for it, but also established the feeling and the openness and the quality. Mel was really leery of having a jazz program at the beginning because he was such an established jazz pianist, and he didn't want a program that was going to be separate, very conservative kind of jazz education kind of program. So when Charlie and I came in, Nick England was the dean who hired us, and Nick was a brilliant musicologist, ethnomusicologist, who knew more about more things than anyone I've ever met. And he brought Charlie and I in to start the program. And we started very small, very advanced, very creative people on all instruments, bachelor's and master's degrees. And all of them were composers as well as performers. And all of them were very interested in working together with the masters from Ghana, from Bali, from Java, from North and South India, Afro-Cuban music, Brazilian music, a long list of choices as far as masters from around the world of their various cultures and styles of music. And we were really interested in not being separate. Actually, in this country, education is very separate. Everything is very separated out from program to program and department to department, and we didn't want it that way. We wanted to be able to do what we do now, which is actually forget what program people are in, forget what year they're in, and forget what major they are, so that everyone is working together all the time. And that really is the way that CalArts was intended to be in the first place, and it still is very much the way that it is. We have many projects we're working together in collaborations with not only everyone within the music school, but also other programs within the Institute. I just now came from a rehearsal where there are 4 composition faculty working together in collaboration with 4 dance faculty, and they're choreographing to our compositions. And we're doing 6 nights of shows, 3 up here at the Modular Theater and 3 down at Red Cat, which is Roy and Edna Disney CalArts Theater, which is down in the back of Walt Disney Concert Hall in downtown Los Angeles. So it'll be a major production, and it's totally collaboration, new compositions, new choreography. None of this existed before about a month ago. And those kind of collaborations are really almost everyday occurrences here. And they happen within the music school as a result of students initiating things or as a result of faculty initiating things. And that's what keeps us all here, because it makes it constantly a different experience depending on who's here at that particular moment. I think it's unusual because in this country, in our culture, everything has become so separate that even within most music schools, the classical program is very separate from the composition program, which is very separate from the jazz program, which is very separate, if there is one, from the world music program. Here, it's not separate at all. They're really all, the interaction between the programs happens so often that you don't even really, most of the time we just look at it as the music school, not really separate programs. It's more for administrative convenience that we actually even set up the different programs, because there aren't any limits on the students crossing from program to program with their curriculum. The biggest part of the structure that sets that up is the small size, because we only have about 45 jazz majors, and that's all instruments, bachelor's and master's degrees. So that's very few people. We never have more than about 8 to 10 people on every instrument. So everyone knows everybody, and everyone is performing and recording constantly. And rather than have a large school where you have very little time for everybody to do that, it's important to us that they be performing and recording constantly, and really day to day, week to week, month to month, not just rehearse all semester for one performance at the end of the semester. That always seems like a very academic kind of structure that doesn't reflect the way professional musicians work in the world at all. So what we're looking for is a smaller, more advanced, and more creative and flexible model. And it started that way, and it has not only maintained that way, but has gotten even more flexible, I think, if anything, as the time goes by. One of the main things that for me keeps me here is also that there's very, very small bureaucracy at CalArts. There's very little. At large universities, you find this academic bureaucracy that's so huge that you end up having to take months or years of lead time to change anything. And very often there's so much resistance to changing anything, either in the curriculum or in the schedule or in the physical surroundings, that it's very difficult to change anything, and most of the time people at a certain point stop trying to change anything. They focus on their own situation. Here, if we decide that we want to change the curriculum for this semester, then we can. There's very little reason not to. So when someone has a good idea, which happens all the time, then we can respond to that. And over the years, our